Everybody comes to Hollywood. They wanna make it in the neighborhood. They like the smell of it in Hollywood. How could it hurt you when it looks so good? Shine your light now. This time it's got to be good. And get it right now, yeah. 'Cause you're in Hollywood. 'Cause you're in Hollywood. 'Cause you're in Hollywood. Hollywood.
John Carpenter's Halloween is a cult classic. Starting off as an indie film, who knew what it would become? Spawning many sequels and reboots years and years later. In the opening of the film, young Michael Myers is seen killing his sister on Halloween night. He is then committed to Smith's Grove Sanitarium. Then we meet Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode, a high school student in Haddonfield, Illinois. She babysits local kids for some extra cash, along with her friends Annie, the daughter of the sheriff, and Linda. Everything's going well until Halloween night. Michael escapes and heads back into town. Samuel Loomis, Michael's doctor, does everything he can tracking him down. The Shape, as he is called, kills Annie, Linda, and her boyfriend, and then guns straight for Laurie. Loomis intervenes though and shoots Michael 6 times, dropping him from the second story of the house to the yard below. And just when we think it's over, he's gone. Well, I really have nothing bad to say about this movie. I really loved it and thought it was amazing. Some of the sequels, not so much. But I'll get to that in time. Alright guys, October Horrorfest continues. See you next time. Halloween 2 picks up directly after the events of the first one. Loomis shoots Michael, he falls from the second floor and hits the ground. Suddenly, he is gone. Laurie is then transported to Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, where she'll be abandoned in a dim, unrealistic environment. You gotta think, though. Even on Halloween night at like 2 a.m., there still has to be human beings working in the hospital. They make it seem like it's extremely on call with only one doctor around, and the rest of the people are just fucking in hot tubs. Anyway, after Michael tracks Laurie to the hospital, he kills everyone, as per usual. It's then we learn that Laurie is actually Michael's other sister, and that's why he's after her. And they don't really touch on it aside from that, really. Not till later films. So Loomis is summoned and escorted back to Smith's Grove because his superiors don't want him meddling with the situation. Even though he saved her life, I mean, fuck it, whatever. So he holds the driver at gunpoint and heads back to the hospital. When he arrives, he and Laurie have a final showdown with Michael, shooting his eyes out and then burning him alive. Okay, stop. So, stabbing him in the neck with a needle, stabbing his eye with a coat hanger, shooting him 6 times, shooting him more times, shooting him directly into the fucking eyes, and then burning him alive? Is he dead yet? Like, what the fuck, man? This has to be the last one, though, right? No more sequels after this? Yeah, see you on the next one, fuckers. So just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, surprise, bitch! Here we go. So, 10 years after getting shot, stabbed, and burning to death, Michael Myers escapes custody during a transport and ends up back at Haddonfield. Hey, go figure. So it's to be believed that Laurie Strode survived all the fuckery of the first 2 movies, only to be killed in a car accident between films. Yeah, sounds about right. Anyway, so now we are introduced to her daughter, Jamie, played by Danielle Harris. Jamie has been adopted by the Strodes, who live in the fucking Myers house for some reason. Anyway, her sister Rachel has a big role in the film, as they are always together. Loomis comes back from the dead as well, all burnt and decrepit and shit, creepier than ever. This one is kinda lame though, honestly. So they fight Michael throughout the movie, ultimately ending at Jamie's school. Rachel runs Michael over with the truck, and then he gets RoboCop firing squad style by a bunch of rednecks. Honestly, it's like the best scene of the movie. He falls down an old mine shaft and gets washed down river by a current. Because, yep, why not? Meanwhile, Jamie kills her mother with scissors and becomes the new Michael Myers. Because, fuck you! That's why. And Loomis cries like a little bitch. The end. I have nothing good to say about this one, really. But you thought this was bad? You just wait till part 5.
Hollywood, 'cause you're in Hollywood.
So, if you thought Halloween 4 was poop, then sit down and watch as I go through the train wreck that is Halloween 5. If you watch YouTube a lot, then I advise you to go check out Dave McRae's channel. He covers a lot of Michael Myers content along with other films, and pretty much feels the same way I do about this one. So, this is going to be real brief. The film opens up with him being shot and floating down the river. A sketchy dude gets him and nurses him back to health for a year in like some shack. Why Michael didn't kill this guy for a whole year, we'll never know. Are you telling me he was like too weak? So he got shot like 6 times, fell 2 stories, got shot in the eyes and kept going, but oh no, can't fall down a mine shaft. Maybe he twisted his fucking ankle or something. Poor guy. Anyway, in this one, Jamie gets telepathically linked to Michael and feels all of his emotions because they really don't have anything else to do with this fucking series and it's already in the toilet, so let's just involve this now. Also, Rachel dies and is replaced by some other bitch. Everyone dies, blah 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 blah, and Loomis is still creepy. This time though, holding Jamie as bait to lure Michael in. That son of a bitch, he's lost it. The movie ends with Michael being thrown in jail. Wait, what? That's correct. County jail. And then being jailbroke by a man in black. No, damn it, not Johnny Cash, just some other dude. And yeah, that's it. No explanation at all. They just want you to wait till part 6. But at this point, I don't even know if I want to. Alright guys, see you on the next one. Hopefully.
You're in Hollywood, 'cause you're in Hollywood.
So if you thought Halloween 4 and 5 were a shit show, then have I got a treat for you. If this one would have been homemade with a shitty, shaky, like Blair Witch style camera, and a script written by a middle school kid, it probably would have been a little bit better. Fuck it. So in this one, Jamie has been captured by a cult, and is just randomly pregnant. Yes, Michael's there because plot. So she escapes and is killed, but the baby's there and gets rescued. So don't freak out, the baby's not dead. So then Paul Rudd is introduced as an adult Tommy Doyle. Yes, the kid that Laurie babysat back in the original film. Alongside Kara Strode, a relative of Laurie. I don't know, there's so many damn Strodes and stuff in this, it's hard to tell who's who. So Tommy and Kara take care of the baby as Michael pursues them throughout the movie. And then, along with Loomis, they head to Smith's Grove where they learn that the man in black is actually Dr. Wynn, an associate of Loomis. Dr. Wynn leads the cult of Thorn, which is apparently where Michael gets his supernatural abilities. Okay, so that's why he's invincible. He's fucking superhuman. Also, it's apparently why he loves to kill his family. I don't know how that ties into that. Anyway, so Tommy kills Wynn and his cult, and then injects Michael with some weird chemical, and then he and the girl escape with the baby. Loomis is left behind to deal with Michael, but you never really figure out what happens there. You just hear Loomis screaming randomly in the background, and then Michael's mask is on the ground, so yeah, that's it. Why? Just why? Did they half-ass the whole movie and then guess the ending? Did they not even have a script for the ending? They just filmed random scenes? I don't know. Sorry, Paul Rudd. I know this is your breakout role and stuff, but eee. So what do you think? Did they intentionally want to ruin the series with this one, or did they just run out of material? What's the situation here? But I'm pretty sure the $5 bin at Walmart has better movies than this one. Alright guys, the next one will be good, I promise. It's a step in the right direction. Stay tuned.
You're in Hollywood, 'cause you're in Hollywood.
Okay. With all the shitty ones behind us now, we could finally move on to H2O. So there are a couple different timelines in this series. One of which ended with that shit show, The Curse of Michael Myers, in my last video. I know you didn't really enjoy that one, but no one did, to be honest. Another timeline goes from Part 2, straight to this one. So it's to be believed nothing happened since 20 years ago in the hospital. The film starts out with Laurie Strode, now called Sharon Tate, the headmaster of a private school in California, where her son John attends. She still hallucinates from time to time and sees Michael everywhere, which is obviously foreshadowing his return. The kids of the school go on a field trip to Yosemite, leaving Laurie and her boyfriend Will alone. But they're not alone. John and his friends stayed behind to have a romantic Halloween night. Ooh, very 90s cliche. Haven't you seen Scream? Anyway, Michael somehow can read a map, road trips across the country, and then finds them all, killing everyone but Laurie, John, and his girlfriend. It then comes down to a rematch of 1978, but this time, Laurie stabs Michael about 6 times and he falls 2 stories down, just like the original. Just when you thought it was over, she hijacks the ambulance they put him in and sends it careening down a cliff. They have a touching family moment, and then all of a sudden, BAM! Laurie chops his head off with an axe. End of the series, Michael's done, he's dead, no more, can't regrow a head, fuck you, it's over. Hey, he's finally dead, right? Right? Alright guys, thanks for watching. October Horrorfest continues. See you next time. Hey, what's up guys? On this one we're covering Halloween Resurrection, the follow-up to H2O on that timeline. Well, this one starts off with Laurie in a mental asylum after apparently killing the wrong fucking guy at the end of the last one. Wait, what? No, that's right. Just when we thought justice had been served, they threw a curveball and hit us directly in the dick. Turns out Michael switched costumes with a paramedic and she killed that guy instead. So, fuckery. Michael tracks Laurie to the hospital. At this point I'm thinking he installed some sort of GPS tracker under her skin or some shit. And he kills her. Great. Last time this happened we got this. A group of kids are supposed to spend the night in the Myers house for an internet reality show hosted by Freddy, played by Busta Rhymes. In typical fashion, the kids are dispatched one by one until it's down to Sarah and Busta. Busta then goes all kung fu on Michael because his one weakness this whole fucking time apparently is karate. He then gets all tangled up in these wires in the garage and then burns to death. Again. This one was right on par with the late 80s Halloween films.
Looking a little crispy over there, Mikey. Like some chicken fried, motherfucker.
Well, don't worry, because this whole series is pretty much ashes at this point. Are they finally done? Please stop fucking making these. You've ruined it. It's leaving a bad taste in my mouth. But that's okay, though. We're done with Halloween for now. Next, we're covering Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003. See you then.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
Alright, October Horrorfest continues with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. No, not that one. No, not this one either. Damn it, no. How many of these are there? Okay, stop. Yes, this one. 2003. Jessica Biel is great in this one. Okay, alright. We're getting sidetracked here. Alright. So the film takes place in the early 70s, and of course, it's in Texas. Which part? I don't fucking know. Does it matter? So these kids are road tripping to a Lynyrd Skynyrd concert and stumble upon this haggard bitch walking down the road. Why they pick her up? I don't know. I mean, it's the 70s. I guess, like, hitchhiking's a thing. I mean, she looked like she came from, like, you know, a Manson cult, or like she just killed someone. I don't know. There is actually a prequel to this movie, though, and I don't know if this chick is from that movie, but I doubt it. Anyway, so they pick her up, and she kills herself in the van, and then they freak out. So they go to get help at this sketchy store, but they don't really realize they just screwed themselves by doing that. The store's owned by like this family, and it ties into the family later, and blah blah blah. Okay. So they find this house out in the middle of nowhere because that seems like a good idea. And Jessica Biel, her name's Erin, gets all felt up by some old dude, when she's trying to get help. Which I don't know why. She just straight up like walked into their house and was like, "Hey, you need some help." And then he like grabs her ass, and then yeah, I don't blame him though. It's nice. So a cop comes to the rescue, but he makes him do a bunch of weird shit, and then he busts one of the kids in the mouth and knocks his teeth out. So it turns out he's not a cop at all. He just killed a cop. Oh, spoiler alert. He killed the cop in the prequel and stole his clothes. So I think he's part of this like weird family that's going on here. So then we get introduced to Leatherface, aka Thomas Hewitt, who is the cop's brother. And so, movie happens, blah, blah, blah. This guy tries to run and gets his leg cut off. And then Jessica Biel's boyfriend tries to be macho and like take on Leatherface. And then that gets all fucked up. And then Jessica Biel ends up down in the basement, all wet and shit, and finds her boyfriend, who's all foobar without a face. And then she finds the legless dude hanging from a hook. So, and did I mention Leatherface is wearing the boyfriend's face? Yeah. So then ultimately, she is a sole survivor and has a final showdown with Leatherface in the slaughterhouse. She hacks his arm off and then runs to safety, but I'm pretty sure whoever picked her up just took her back to the same damn house. Who's to say? But, alright guys, that was that. I mean, there are like 700 other Texas Chainsaw movies, including a new one with, damn. I mean, what's her face? Yeah, her. Alright guys, tomorrow I'm covering Friday the 13th. The original, with Pamela. Alright, see you then. Alright guys, tonight I want to talk about Friday the 13th. The original debuted in 1980 and paved the way for many slashers that followed. The story follows an abandoned summer camp called Camp Crystal Lake. Years prior, a boy drowned in the lake because the counselors weren't paying attention. Steve Christie, along with some new counselors, were getting ready to reopen the camp when suddenly they all start getting killed off one by one. Kevin Bacon. Alice, the sole survivor of the film, soon discovers that the killer is Pamela Voorhees, the boy who drowned's mother. She tells Alice that she's been killing the counselors to get revenge for Jason. Then Alice decapitates that bitch. The next morning she is drifting away in a boat as the cops approach, when suddenly... Wait, is Jason alive? Wait and see. Tomorrow I'll get right into part 2 as October Horrorfest continues. Okay, part 2. Originally, this was going to pull a Halloween and be an anthology, with each film being about a different story. Well, how about you don't do that? 2 months after the fuckery at the camp, Alice is recouping in her apartment when someone just walks right in and kills the bitch. Anyway, 5 years later, this guy Paul is hosting a counselor training camp near Crystal Lake, at the Packanack Lodge. There are other counselors there, blah blah blah. Paul tells them the story of Jason, and then they all start getting killed off. Convenient. Except for Paul, of course, and Jenny, who then have a showdown with the killer, Jason. Oh shit, never would have guessed. He is still alive. So he never did drown. He just lived in this weird shack in the woods the whole time. Why he didn't just tell his mother he was alive, we'll never know. Anyway, so they have a final showdown in this shack, and Jenny puts on Pamela's sweater. And for whatever reason, Jason thinks she actually is his mother, until he sees the mother's severed head on this weird shrine that he made. I don't know. They subdue Jason and escape, only to have him crash through the window of their cabin. And yeah, that's it. They show Jenny being loaded onto an ambulance, but no Jason or Paul, because they love loose ends, I guess. I don't know. Alright guys, that's it. Part 3 tomorrow. He finally gets the mask. Alright, see you then.
Hollywood, 'cause you're in Hollywood.
Welcome back to October Horrorfest. This time I'm doing Friday the 13th, Part 3. To start this one off, we have Chris Higgins, who's going to Higgins Haven, her old home on the lake, with some friends, including this weird son of a bitch. So they meet up with Chris's boyfriend Rick, but not before committing fuckery to a bunch of bikers. So the bikers follow them back to the Higgins Haven and proceed to have some sort of weird prank war where they siphon gas out of their Scooby van. I don't know. Shelley scares his blind date with a hockey mask, solidifying that much more his celibacy. You know the drill. Jason kills everyone, except for Chris, and now he's wearing the iconic mask that he stole from the weirdo. They have a barn brawl and she buries an axe in his head. Roll credits. So this one was pretty decent. It was originally in 3D when it came out in the theater. I think it was maybe even the first horror movie in 3D? I don't know. Alright guys, tomorrow is Friday the 13th, the final chapter. You know what that means? Tommy Jarvis time. Alright guys, see you next time.
You're in Hollywood, 'cause you're in Hollywood.
Heyo! Today it all ends, guys. Friday the 13th, the final chapter. You don't actually believe that shit, do you? Alright, let's get into this. So Chris killed Jason with an axe. She did kill him, right? He's dead? So she gets all traumatized or whatever, and then goes bye-bye. Then we meet the Jarvis family. Tommy Jarvis is a young kid who lives near Crystal Lake with his mom and sister. He seems like a nice kid, until this partying group of fucking teens show up next door and attract all the attention to themselves. Crispin Glover's in this one too. You know, the dad from Back to the Future.
Hey, how come you turned that off?
Okay, cool. So he dies, along with everyone else. Tommy's sister Trish befriends a guy named Rob, who apparently came to hunt Jason because he killed his sister at the Packanack Lodge in Part 2. So anyway, there's no justice there, because he dies too, and then Trish tries to kill Jason with a machete, but that doesn't work, so Tommy does some weird shit where he shaves his head and cosplays as a younger Jason, and that actually works for some reason. As Jason gets distracted, Tommy slams a machete in the side of his face, and then he falls to the floor, the blade sliding deeper and deeper in. Alright, so now he's gotta be fucking dead, right? I'm not even joking. Who the hell could survive that? I mean, that being said, see you on the next one.
You're in Hollywood, 'cause you're in Hollywood.
What's up, guys? So I decided to skip part 5 because it's horrible and irrelevant. So part 6, Jason lives. Wait, what? Jason does what now? But he, and then... Ah, fuck. So this one opens up with an adult Tommy Jarvis going to dig up Jason's corpse to make sure he is dead. Why? I get that he's all fucked up because of that weird cosplay incident, but isn't it like horror movie logic that if you go back to a place like this, bad shit will happen? Nah, Jason's dead. We're okay. So he digs up the body and then lightning hits it and reanimates Jason. Wait, what? Are you fucking kidding me? Lightning hits it and reanimates... No, I heard you. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, so zombie Jason kills Tommy's friend and then Tommy tries to burn him, but it's raining, so why would you even try to do that? So then Tommy just bails and then leaves Jason free to kill a bunch more people. Cool. Sounds about right. Tommy befriends the sheriff's daughter, and they come up with a plan to stop Jason once and for all. Come on, no they don't. The sheriff shows up, and Jason teaches him yoga real quick, and then he guns after Tommy. They have a battle in the lake, and Tommy ends up chaining Jason to the bottom of it. But first, he has to fuck his face all up with a boat propeller. That's just extra, man. Come on. And the end. Jason is permanently at rest. Okay. Jason is dead. Scratch that. Jason is undead, but he's trapped at the bottom of the lake for good. Isn't he? In this video, I'll be covering Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. Oh, I wonder if that means there'll be a new killer. Yeah, no, I wouldn't count on it. So this is Tina. She's a telepath and can do Jean Grey type shit with her mind. And this guy, when he's not being puppeteered around the beach by these two, is Tina's doctor. A long time ago, Tina came to the lake with her family for a nice weekend. Her parents didn't buy into her whole powers bullshit, so she accidentally killed her dad by dropping a gazebo on his head, and then drowning him in the lake. So her mom and her doctor brought her back to the place she killed her father to study her. Well, what a bunch of assholes. So yes, there are more teens, blah blah blah, you know the drill. Tina one night tries to resurrect her dad and instead, yep, frees Jason. Shocker. So then Jason kills Tina's mom, the other teens, and the doctor. Aw, damn. Well, at least he can fake it.
Get up!
Get on up,
Get up!
get on up,
Get up!
get on up,
Get on the scene
get on up,
like a voodoo machine.
get on up,
Get on up! Get on up! Get on up! Get on up! The voodoo and the mo-ho, the voodoo and the mo-ho, the voodoo and the mo-ho, the voodoo and the mo-ho. Get on up!
get on up,
Get on up!
get on up,
Get on up!
get on up.
Wow!
Hopefully some of y'all got that reference. It all comes down to a really epic telekinesis fight where she hangs him and then burns him and then fucks him all up. Not that it really matters because he's undead, so yeah. Then the tables turn a bit, and right when you thought it was over, here comes Dad back from the dead somehow, and he drags Jason back down to the bottom of the lake. Sure, at this point, I guess anything is possible. Well then, that's it for this one. Tomorrow I'm covering Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Oh god, they're putting him where?
Hollywood, 'cause you're in Hollywood. Hollywood.
What's up guys, on this episode of On the Set, for October Horrorfest, I'm doing Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Yes, that's what I said. He's going to fucking New York.
Damn, we're in New York! You did it, man, you did it! We are in New York City!
Yes, Julian, yes, they heard you. So the film starts off at Crystal Lake with these two teens who are floating on a yacht. Why there is a yacht on the lake, I don't know. So this guy goes to drop the anchor so he can fuck this bitch, and then of course it snags Jason's body and an electrical wire that is just conveniently placed there. I just can't anymore with these movies. I just can't. So yeah, Jason gets brought back again. So he kills the kids and then pulls some kind of weird spaghetti out of their stomachs. Then a girl named Rennie is going on a class trip to New York on a giant cruise ship. But from New Jersey? That seems dumb. So by some teleportation miracle, Jason pops up and climbs aboard. So wait, Crystal Lake is a lake, right? How the hell did he make it into the ocean from the... Alright, you know what? I'm not even gonna... So aboard the ship, we meet more knowing teens that beg for death, and Rennie's teacher and her Uncle Charles, who tried to hand her off to Jason when she was a kid. Yeah, he took her to the lake one day, and then he tossed her in the water, and I don't know. So as the ship heads to New York, Jason does what he does, and kills everyone. All except Rennie, her uncle, her teacher, the captain's son, and Julius, who was way too fucking excited given the circumstances.
We are in New York City!
Once there, the shit really hits the fan. Rennie's teacher burns to death in a car crash. Her uncle gets drowned in poop water, which I didn't really mind too much. And Julius, aw man, not Julius.
New York City! Yeah!
He tries to engage Jason in a game of fisticuffs, and then he gets Pamela'd. That's right, I made it a verb. Pamela'd. Oh, and did I mention that gang members kidnapped Rennie and then shot her up with drugs and then tried to rape her? 'Cause, yeah, that happened. Now I see what Julius was talking about. And so then Jason shows up and saves the day by killing the gang members. Oh, but it's too late. She already got exposed to a used needle, bro. She's gonna die anyway. So then Rennie and Jason have a battle in the sewer, and Jason gets bombarded with toxic waste. Because apparently every night in New York City, the sewer just floods with toxic waste, according to some random maintenance guy down there. So then Rennie hallucinates, seeing Jason turn back into a child for some reason. And then she escapes with whatever that captain's son's name was. Alright guys, that was a lot to cover, but I'm done now. Jason is down and out underneath New York City. Yeah, let's see him get back to Crystal Lake now. See you on the next one. I'm doing Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. Wait a minute, I've seen this before. Ah, shit.
Hollywood, 'cause you're in Hollywood.
Welcome to night 16 of October Horrorfest. So far, we've gone through all of the Friday the 13ths. Well, except the shitty 5th one. On this video, Jason finally goes to hell. I think. So somehow, Jason manages to get back to Crystal Lake after being melted by toxic waste back in New York. The film opens up with him being pursued by the FBI, who shoot him up firing squad style and then blow him into pieces. Hey! He can't possibly come back from that. Alright, guys, roll credits. We're done here. So then he gets taken back to the morgue and gets autopsied, and then the coroner eats his heart. Yes, that's what I said. The coroner eats his heart. So what, it went from slasher to zombie film to possession movie now? This series is just covering all the bases, man, I swear. So Jason, as the coroner, kills the FBI agents and escapes. Yeah, 'cause that's likely. Throughout the movie, he jumps from body to body as they take too much damage. Then we meet Creighton Duke, which I think is the guy from Reading Rainbow, but no, it's not him. Never mind. Anyway, Duke is a bounty hunter and Jason expert, hellbent on destroying him. We get introduced to Diana, Jason's sister. Wait, his what? And her daughter, Jessica. Stop, hold on. This whole time, Jason had other family members, so he couldn't have just went back to them after his mother died instead of being a potato sack wearing lunatic. So in order for Jason to be reborn, he needs to jump into the body of somebody sharing his bloodline. Jason kills Diana and Duke, and then jumps into Diana's body, but not by puking his soul into her mouth like he's been doing. Oh no, this time he's becoming a demonic reptile and then crawling up her vagina. Wow, this movie is just all over the place, isn't it? So now Jason is reborn, yeah, and kicks the ass of Steven, Jessica's boyfriend. Then Jessica kills Jason with some sort of magical dagger that only works if she holds it, and then Jason gets pulled into hell by these weird sand creatures. So the next morning, we see Jason's mask laying in the sand until Freddy's hand shoots out of the ground and grabs it and pulls it back to hell. Boom! So what the hell was that? That was insanity. That's what that was. Well, at least the worst is over, and I guess we finally get what we want, because on the next one, I'm doing Freddy vs. Jason. That's right, it finally fucking happened. Alright, see you then.
You're in Hollywood, 'cause you're in Hollywood.
Alright guys, so on this video I'm doing Freddy vs. Jason. Finally, these two horror icons meet. I know it was in the works for years, and now, here we are. So Freddy has lost all fear on Elm Street. Kids don't even remember who he is anymore. Therefore, he tricks Jason into killing for him, so that he's feared yet again. But in doing so, the kids fear Jason instead. That sucks, bro. So now Freddy's trying to stop him, which we know is just ridiculous. So there's a group of teens in this one too, mainly Lori, who had her mother killed by Freddy, probably because her dumbass moved into the same house from the original Freddy movie. So the kids concoct a scheme to pull Freddy out of the dream world so that he can fight Jason and they can kill each other. So they travel to Camp Crystal Lake, which is in Jersey, and Elm Street is back in Ohio. Well, let's not talk about the distance fuckery here. So Lori goes to sleep and we find out that it was Freddy who drowned Jason in the lake in the first place. And just when things are going south, Lori pulls Freddy out and a kick-ass fight scene ensues. They beat the shit out of each other and then get blown up, and then ultimately we see Freddy prevail until Jason shoves his own arm through his chest, and then Lori chops his head off. So Laurie escapes, blah blah blah. The next morning, we see Jason carrying out Freddy's head from the lake. But was it real, or was it a dream? A lot of people question this, and it's never really answered, so... Alright guys, well we're done here. Next I'm covering Jason X, because they ran out of ideas, so they put his ass in space. That sounds about right. Alright, see you then. Alright, so Jason X. This one is questionable at best. So there's now a research facility at Crystal Lake that captures and studies Jason. Of course, he gets free and kills everyone, and then he chases down Rowan, who is the project leader. She tries to freeze him, but it goes to shit, and then they both get frozen. And then years and years and years and years and years later, there's a school traveling to what is now our dead Earth. Man, Captain Planet would be pissed.
Remember, turn off the faucet between usages and recycle those plastics. Or else, I'll turn you into a fucking tree. Captain Planet, motherfucker.
So they find this facility with Rowan and Jason, and they bring them aboard their ship. They reanimate Rowan, and she has trouble adapting to the situation, which is understandable. But also Jason wakes up and smashes some bitch's face. So then Jason goes around killing people, and he ends up facing an android one of the kids created, called KM. KM Robocops Jason, and he's pretty much an amputee, so even if he wanted to kill someone, he couldn't even get up. But alas, he falls on top of a nanobite machine that turns him into a cyborg. Go figure. So now Uber Jason kills KM and more people, leaving Rowan and these other two kids aboard a rescue ship. Uber Jason almost catches them when Brodsky, a soldier, tackles him into space and rides his body back to Earth 2. Yes, I said Earth 2. And they land conveniently into a lake. The end. So I don't think this one had a sequel planned. I mean, where could they go from here, anyway? Well, let me just shut up before they start writing a script, alright? Well, that's it for Jason. Now we're moving on to Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 and 2. See you next time. October Horrorfest continues with Rob Zombie's Halloween, an overdramatic interpretation of John Carpenter's classic. Nah, actually I do like this one, kinda. So the film starts off with a young Michael in 1978. He lives in a dysfunctional family with a stripper mom, drunk stepdad, and his sister, who just doesn't seem to give two fucks about him. The only one he cares about, really, is his baby sister. And at school, he's bullied by this kid all the time, and finally one day he just snaps and beats the shit out of the kid with a tree branch. Later, as his mom is stripping the night away, his sister Judith is supposed to take Michael trick-or-treating, but would rather fuck her boyfriend instead. After eating a shit ton of candy corn, he slits the dad's throat, bashes the boyfriend's head in, and then stabs his sister to death. Massacre style. So the mom comes home and is in utter shock. Well, yeah. Then Michael gets shipped away to Smith's Grove Sanitarium under the supervision of Dr. Sam Loomis. Loomis tries again and again to connect with Michael, but that shit just ain't happening, bro. The mother finally loses all hope and then kills herself, leaving the damn baby all alone. What a bitch. Then 15 years later, Michael breaks out of Smith's Grove and heads back to Haddonfield to hunt for his sister, who is now a teenage girl named Lori. Yeah, it's close enough. So Loomis learns about this and tries to recruit the sheriff to help, but he ain't buying it. Michael stalks her and her friends around and then finally kills them later that night. Lori's busy babysitting Tommy Doyle when Michael attacks. She finds the bodies of her friend Linda and Annie, but then Annie's somehow still alive. Loomis shows up and shoots Michael. Well, Loomis, you can't kill the boogeyman. Isn't that what they said? So Michael crushes his skull and drags Lori back into the house. I think the whole time he's just trying to tell her who he is, so he's just going about it the wrong way. Why don't you just fucking talk, man? Damn. So just when you think it's over, he tackles her out of the second story of the house, and she shoots him in the face. Boom. He's dead. Well, zombie, not quite. Not quite. But almost. You almost did it. Part 2. Wow, they actually greenlit a sequel for this? Oh shit, sorry, wrong movie. Sorry, sometimes I just can't tell them apart. Anyway, so we get the hospital vibe from the original sequel for all of like 15 minutes, and then the film goes full Rob Zombie mode. Laurie now lives with Annie and the sheriff and is all goth now for some reason. Michael's been roaming around aimlessly, looking like a hobo. Wait a minute, didn't he get shot in the face? Oh well. Laurie tries to forget what happened 2 years ago and just tries to move on, but she just can't seem to. Meanwhile, Loomis is living the high life off a book he wrote about the incident. Yeah, way to profit off the torment of others, Loomis. I don't think the other Loomis would do that. He was just nuts. So anyway, Hollywood Loomis is doing the talk show circuit, blah blah blah, until he finds out Michael is still alive and killing. Laurie reads the Loomis book and finds out she's actually Michael's sister. Well, that's just icing on the damn cake, isn't it? Oh no! So Michael catches back up with her and kills Annie. Again. In this one, right before he kills anyone, though, he sees his child self and his mother wearing all white on a white horse. I have no fucking idea why. Finally, they have this standoff in a shack where Loomis tries to reason with Michael, and then he gets killed. Again. And then they shoot Michael, firing squad style, and he falls and gets impaled on spikes. So he's dead. You know what? I'm not even gonna say it. So Laurie emerges from the shack with the mask on and gets put into a mental hospital. The end. Well, that was a shit show, wasn't it? Is this one just forgotten about now? I mean, it should be. Join me next time as I start the Nightmare on Elm Street series. Wow, finally a movie that makes sense. Well, maybe not.
Hollywood, 'cause you're in Hollywood.
On this episode of On the Set, I'm doing Nightmare on Elm Street, about Wes Craven's iconic dream demon brought to life. The film begins with Tina, who's been having horrible dreams about a burnt guy in a Christmas sweater. Yeah, it seems pretty terrifying. So she tries to tell her friends about it, but everybody just thinks she's crazy, until she gets Nancy and a group of her friends to stay the night to help with her nightmares. Ultimately, Tina gets killed by the dream demon, and her murder gets pinned on Rod, her boyfriend. Then Nancy takes over as main protagonist. Nancy learns that the demon's name is Freddy Krueger, a local child murderer that the parents band together and burned alive years prior. After she starts to encounter Freddy more, her parents become paranoid and bar all the windows of the house, locking Nancy inside. The only one that sort of believes her is her boyfriend, Johnny Depp, who then dies because he tries to multitask too much. Who the hell listens to music and watches TV at the same time? You're just asking for death. So then Nancy concocts an elaborate scheme. She sets the house up all Home Alone style and proceeds to pull Freddy out of her dream. Yeah, it seems legit. He chases her around the house and gets all fucked up from the booby traps, and then gets set on fire. Again. Freddy kills Nancy's mother, and then he disappears when Nancy declares she's not afraid anymore, taking his power away. So wait a minute, he materializes into the real world, which makes him human again, but then he vaporizes? Did he get beamed up to the fucking Enterprise or something? So Nancy awakens to a brand new day, where all her friends and mother are still alive. So that's just a fucked up dream, I guess. Oh wait, Freddy car. Yeah, no, she's fucked. And then the mother gets pulled back into the house through a tiny ass window. The end. Well, this one was cheesy as hell, but it'll get better. Won't it? Next I'll be doing part 2. Stay tuned.
Hollywood, 'cause you're in Hollywood.
Alright, Nightmare on Elm Street 2. We're going on a little field trip. So Jesse is a kid who moved into Nancy's old house, and since then has been having the same terrible nightmares that she did. The film opens up with Jesse and friends on a school bus, which is going way too fast. Jesse realizes this, and just as he notices, Freddy is driving. Then they veer off the road and over a damn cliff. Freddy comes up with a scheme to possess Jesse to kill for him. One by one, he takes all his friends out, including a weird rendezvous he has with the coach in the shower. Yeah, that probably wasn't necessary. Then he crashes a pool party and ditches Lisa, a girl who he likes, but is just too afraid to tell. Classic Jesse. He talks his friend Grady into watching him sleep so he doesn't kill anymore, and it pretty much ends up with him killing Grady anyway. Lisa then takes Jesse to an abandoned factory where Freddy Krueger used to work. And there, they confront Freddy. She realizes that Jesse's fear is giving Freddy his power, and so she kisses him, and then gives Jesse enough courage to overpower Freddy, turning him to ash. The movie then ends with the same damn bus scene as before, but this time with no Freddy. Matt, spoke too soon. Never mind. Alright, next time I'm continuing with part 3. See you then.
Hollywood, 'cause you're in Hollywood.
Okay, in part 3 we meet Kristen. She starts having nightmares about Freddy, but soon learns that she has something the other kids don't: control over her dreams. She gets sent to Weston Hills under the care of Dr. Gordon. The kids at the hospital all start dying off due to nightmares they have, so they call in a dream expert, who just so happens to be Nancy. No one believes that Freddy is the cause of everything, so together with Nancy, Kristen creates the Dream Warriors, and they seek out Freddy. But while this is happening, Dr. Gordon finds Nancy's dad, and he makes him take him to where Freddy's bones were hidden, so they could bury him once and for all. The Dream Warriors battle Freddy and douse him with holy water, ultimately defeating him, but not before Nancy dies in the process. Later, at Nancy's funeral, Dr. Gordon sees a nun watching from afar, and when he goes after her, she leads him to a grave that was marked Amanda Krueger, Freddy's mother. So Freddy's dead, finally. Well, that was that, right? Oh, damn it, there's another one?
Even in part 3, the Dream Warriors failed, and Mr. Big Time Freddy Krueger prevailed. It was his prime time, I know you'll never forget what he did to the girl with the TV set. But you can't stop Freddy, 'cause he's cool as ice. Come right back at ya to slash and swipe.
You're in Hollywood, 'cause you're in Hollywood.
How's it going, guys? Here with another nightmare. So after Freddy was defeated by the Dream Warriors, he returns to kill them all, eventually crossing paths with Kristen's friend Alice, who, like Kristen, has special dream powers, only better. Freddy kills her brother and her other friends. He even turned one into a roach, so that was a thing. Finally ending with a showdown between Alice and Freddy. She pretty much kicks his ass all over the place and then defeats him by showing him his own reflection. Freddy vaporizes, and then that's that. Afterwards, Alice and her boyfriend Dan try to move on. Well, that one was I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it was kind of cheesy. But then again, aren't they all? Alright, next I'm doing part 5, The Dream Child. Ooh, can't wait.
You're in Hollywood, 'cause you're in Hollywood.
So, Alice and Dan are having a baby, and Freddy is dead, isn't he? We learn in this one that Amanda Krueger was a nun who worked at an asylum in the 1940s. She got accidentally locked in a room with 100 maniacs and they raped her repeatedly, leading us to believe that Freddy was the bastard son of 100 maniacs. Suddenly, Alice's boyfriend, Dan, gets killed and all of her other friends begin to start dying off by nightmares again. But how? It's later found out that Alice's baby has been the one dreaming the whole time, which just opens the door for Freddy to kill. Alice gets help from her friend Mark. And they try to convince their friend Yvonne, but she's just not having it. She thinks they're both crazy. So after Mark dies, comic book style, Yvonne is on board and goes to seek out Amanda Krueger for help. Although, she's been dead for quite some time. Alice is pit against Freddy yet again, but this time Freddy is using her unborn son against her. Finally, when things are looking grim and shit's about to hit the fan, Amanda shows up and freezes Freddy in time, and then her soul is finally laid to rest. Alice and Yvonne escape. Well, this one was just dumb too. These nightmare movies aren't even trying hard anymore. The best part was learning a new piece of Freddy's origin, I guess. Everything else was just blah. Alright guys, see you next time. I think he dies for real in the next one.
You're in Hollywood, 'cause you're in Hollywood.
Freddy is dead. Alright, I'm just gonna stop saying it. So the film opens up with a random dude having a nightmare where he gets attacked by the Wicked Witch from The Wizard of Oz. He hits his head pretty hard and gets amnesia, and then he gets picked up by the cops and taken to a youth shelter. Oh, off to a good start so far. So we meet another group of teens at the shelter, of course. They're being overlooked by a guy named Doc, I don't know if this guy is a doc or if his name is just Doc. I have no idea. Then the John Doe talks to a psychiatrist named Maggie to try to help jog his memory about who he was. But all he remembers is a water tower from a random newspaper clipping that he has. When Maggie hears this, she remembers seeing the same water tower. So they embark on a road trip to Springwood to maybe jog their memory even more. Once there, they find out that Freddy has killed every last child of the town. And after further investigation, they find out that Freddy actually had a kid who was taken away after he was convicted. So bits and pieces of the story start coming together, like memories of Freddy's wife finding his kill room and then him killing her for it. John then suspects that he may be the son of Freddy. But after a couple kids who tagged along get killed in their nightmares, including John himself, Maggie discovers that Freddy has returned, and that it is in fact her that is the child of Freddy. She enters the dream world and pulls him out to have one last fight. Maggie pins Freddy to a wall with throwing stars and then blows him up with explosives, because they're just readily available, I guess. Maggie then smiles and it's over. Honestly, this was it. He was really dead. I know I say that all the time, but New Line Cinema actually planned on stopping the franchise after this. But you know how it is, the fans were outraged and wanted more, as they always do. Alright guys, see you next time.
Hollywood, 'cause you're in Hollywood. Hollywood.
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood, a neighborly day for beauty. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So let's make the most of this beautiful day. Since we're together, we might as well say, would you be mine? Would you be mine? Won't you be
My victim. Be my victim. I am the writing on the wall, the whisper in the classroom. Without these things, I am nothing. So now I must shed innocent blood.
October Horrorfest continues with Candyman. This movie is considered a classic to some, but I think it's just cheesy as hell. But here we go anyway. So Candyman centers around these two college students, Helen and Bernadette, and it's pretty much Helen, more or less. She's the main character. So she ropes Bernadette into doing this story on the Candyman. They got some kind of class project doing urban legends and shit. And then her husband is the teacher of this other class. He's like a professor. His name's Trevor. He's just an adulterating piece of shit. Just sleeping around with all these young blondes and shit. I mean, you know, it is what it is. So Helen goes to this sketchy as fuck part of town in Chicago called Cabrini Green. It's like the hood. I don't know why she just didn't get shot and killed right there. You know, anyway, so they find this dilapidated old project, and of course she fucking goes inside, you know, with no cops or anything, just by herself. And then she's like interrogating all these people that have allegedly seen Candyman, and then there's like this one waitress chick or whatever, and I think her baby disappeared or something disappeared, and they think that Candyman did it. So she's like interrogating this lady, trying to convince like Bernadette that Candyman's real. And she goes to like the sketchy bathroom and gets like punched in the face. I'm the Candyman, bitch. So yeah, ultimately she's just like, I don't know, maybe not. But then Candyman like manifests himself to her, and he's like, Helen.
Yes?
Be my victim, Helen. And so I think then he like possesses her to start killing everyone, because she kills Bernadette, and she like kills that waitress chick, and then she gets sent to jail, and she's like, I don't know, it's all kind of crazy shit. She gets out, and then she goes home and finds out that Trevor's still fucking the blonde chick, and she's like, oh my god. So yeah, Basically, the story ends where she goes back to the Cabrini Green place and finds out that Candyman really just wants her as, like, his lover because there was this bitch way back in the day that he loved that looked a lot like her. And, you know, if he's smart, which he's not, he wouldn't even fuck with her because what happened the first time? So the origin of Candyman was he was like this artist or some shit back in like the Renaissance days, you know? So then he fell in love with like this, I don't remember what she was, some kind of like royalty or some shit, the daughter of like somebody famous or some shit like that. And they fell in love and were like fucking. And then like her parents, like people found them and then pretty much had him like killed. Like they cut his hand off and jammed like a rusty hook in the spot, which I don't even know how that would work because wouldn't your bone prevent that from happening? I don't know. Anyway, then like they covered his naked body with a bunch of honey and had bees like fuck them all up. And I don't really know if I mean, I'm sure if you're allergic to bees, they can kill you, but I don't think it takes that many to kill you.
I think it's about 100 bees can kill you, if I'm not mistaken.
What are we doing here?
Making a hit movie.
Go for 99 and then take off.
Oh, 100. Oh, shit. Well, anyway, never mind. So he wants Helen to be like his bitch, and she's just not really having it. So he puts that baby from like the waitress chick in like this burning pile of shit, and then she crawls in there after it like a dumbass. So needless to say, she burns to death, and then you're like, oh well, now she's Candyman's hoe. But I don't know if she's like a new Freddy Krueger, or I think she's like the new Candyman, because at the end, like the Trevor guy's looking in the mirror saying her name 5 times. I don't know, I guess he regrets cheating on her, who knows. And then she appears to him, and she's holding the hook, and then she kills him. So that's pretty much how it ends. And I think there's sequels to this movie, but I wouldn't waste my time with that. And, you know, they are remaking it. Jordan Peele, the guy that did Us and Get Out and all that, he's making a new Candyman. And the guy that's playing Candyman is Black Manta. So I don't remember what his name actually is. But that's going to be dope. I think that's coming out in like the next couple years. Alright guys, October Horrorfest keeps rolling on. See you on the next one, bitch. Today for October Horrorfest, I'm doing the Friday the 13th reboot, as if this really even needed to happen. So it starts off with Pamela getting decapitated by a female counselor, with of course Jason watching. They tried condensing the original film into a couple-minute intro. We meet a group of teens who come to the woods to find a field of weed they heard about. Little do they know it's next to Camp Crystal Lake. They're busy doing the same shit they do in every movie, then in typical fashion they all get killed. All except Whitney, whom Jason holds captive in an underground lair because she resembles Pamela. Hey look, opening credits! There they are, 20 minutes later. So then we meet another group of kids, again, this time led by Trey, who I would assume is Vanilla Ice's son?
To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal, light up a stage and wax a chump like a candle, dance!
And his girlfriend, Killer Frost. They go to Trey's family cabin for a fun weekend of sex and drugs. Woo! Oh, and it has a kid that Freddy killed in his reboot. So that's cool. Up until this point, Jason has been rocking a streamlined version of the sack he wore back in the day. Until he kills a redneck guy and takes his iconic mask from this guy's tool shed. So the kids are all partying it up. Willa Ford is wakeboarding naked, you know, same old shit. You remember her, right?
I wanna be back and make that feel so good. I'ma lose it all my cool. I'm about to break the rules. I wanna be back.
Yeah, well, she got her wish. This movie is bad. Really bad. But it doesn't make her look so good. So Jason kills her and her dude. Meanwhile, Sam from Supernatural shows up looking for his sister Whitney. Trey tells him to go fuck himself, and then Killer Frost pretty much tags along with him for the rest of the movie. And then Trey's being a cheating douchebag, fucking this other girl, and then Jason finds the cabin and kills everyone else, leaving Sam to rescue Whitney from Jason's lair. Sam and Whitney have a final showdown with Jason in a barn. I guess that's a shout out to the Higgins Haven from part 3. Whitney fools Jason into thinking that she's his mother. Haven't seen that done before. And then they kill him with a wood chipper. I mean, he doesn't get sucked into it all Mortal Kombat style, like you're thinking. It just scratches his head up a little bit and then chokes him. That's gruesome. So they dump his body in the lake and then it's over. Oh wait, no it's not. Never saw that coming. I don't know, guys. This remake was blah. To be honest, all these horror movies that they're remaking lately are just garbage. I mean, they're not terrible movies, but they're not the original, and they'll never live up to what the originals were. Alright, well, tomorrow I'm doing the new Child's Play movie. I haven't even seen it yet. I should probably watch this. Alright, guys. See you then. Konnichiwa! So, as you guys know, October's almost over with, and it's really hard to believe when you think about it because, I mean, it just flew by. I've been posting videos like every single day for this October Horrorfest thing, and before I knew it, it was like the 25th already, and then, what? It's almost Halloween? It's just crazy. It's my favorite month, and it's just gone already. It's been a wacky month, to be honest, but, you know, we're getting off topic here. So, as I said in the last video, I was going to watch the new Child's Play for this review, and to be honest, I haven't quite watched it yet. I wasn't going to go see it in the theater. I was going to wait for it to come out on disc or something like that, but I looked at Redbox, you know, couldn't find it. I looked on, like, Hulu and Netflix and stuff. It's not there. You know, and I looked and looked and looked, and I finally found, like, a decent version of it, so I'm going to watch that real quick, and then I'll do this review for you guys. So, see ya. Yeah. Okay, well, let's review it, I guess. Alright, so this version of the film looks to deal more with the fear of AI taking over the world than a possessed doll. So there's a company that is manufacturing these My Buddy dolls that are pretty much ran on AI, and they're self-evolving, kinda like Ultron. So this guy in one of the factories is getting fired from his boss, and then out of spite he fucks with all the safety protocols of one of the buddies, and then sends it on its way. Oh, and then he kills himself. So that happened. I thought this guy was going to end up being like a version of Charles Lee Ray, but he's not. He's a one and done. So then there's Andy. Andy's a shy kid with a hearing disability who lives with his mom, Karen. She feels really bad that he isn't very social, so she gets him one of the My Buddy dolls. A very specific one, at that. So the doll, that was dubbed Chucky, imprints on Andy and then comes to life. He seems normal at first, but then he starts killing. First Karen's boyfriend, and then others. An officer named Mike Norris assists them once he learns that Chucky is evil. And then after a bunch of fuckery with Chucky corrupting other buddies, Chucky reveals that he's holding Karen hostage, and he plans on killing her. Andy comes in and saves the day and rescues his mom. Together with Officer Norris and Karen, Andy destroys Chucky, ending the mayhem. Then we see a message from the CEO of the company that produced the buddies saying that they will all be recalled. Yeah, I doubt it. Suddenly we see another buddy doll beginning to malfunction. And that's the end. Well, it sounds like someone's expecting a sequel. Well, I wouldn't hold your breath. I don't know how I feel about this one. I mean, it was blah. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it was a nice try, though. Alright, guys, tomorrow I'm reviewing another remake, Nightmare on Elm Street. Stay tuned, bitch! Ha 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 ha! Alright. On the Set continues with October Horrorfest, and tonight we're covering the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street. Welcome to my world, bitch! I like this one a lot, but they changed the Freddy actor. It's not Robert Englund anymore. Now it's Jackie Earle Haley. You might know him as Rorschach. And he did alright. It was supposed to be a lot more scary and not as comical in this one. And also they changed his origins. Alright, so the story starts off with Dean. He's in this diner, you know, falling asleep like a little bitch. The waitress is being really half-assed with her service, so he follows her to the back, which I didn't even know you could do that, but fuck it. And then he sees a bunch of weird, like, bizarre shit going on, and then, of course, oh, it's a dream. Freddy. There you go. Right out the gate. So he pretty much forces Dean to kill himself, and then that was right in front of Chris, which is his girlfriend. So then, Dean's funeral, she meets up with Quentin and Jesse, who is her ex-boyfriend, and then Nancy. Of course, you gotta have a Nancy in there. They all start, corroborating stories about having dreams about Freddy, pretty much. They don't know who he is, but they know of him. Jesse stays the night with Chris, because she's freaked out. And then Freddy kills her pretty much the same way the girl died in the first one. And then Jesse gets pinned on the murder. So then Jesse goes to prison, and he gets killed in prison, So then Nancy, with the help of Quentin, figure out who Freddy is and, what happened. Find out that when they were children, they went to this preschool called Badham, and Freddy was like this janitor or gardener or some shit like that lived in the basement of the school, and he used to take them down there into like his little secret room and diddle them and all kind of weird shit like that. So he was a pedophile, okay? He's not a child murderer like he was in the original series. Now he's a fucking pedophile. So that's much worse. All the parents band together to kill him. Now, in the original series, Freddy did go to trial for the killings, but was set free on a technicality. And in this one, he didn't even bother going to trial. The parents all trapped him in a boiler room before he even did that and just killed him outright. Burned him to death. So, Quentin seemed to think that he was innocent, and they just assumed that he was diddling him, so they killed an innocent man, pretty much. That's why Freddy's pissed and coming after them. But then they go to the damn school and find little secret room with all the weird cave drawings and all kind of shit like that. And then they're like, oh, fuck, well, maybe he really was a pedophile. So then they realize that the parents, were just in their actions and were just trying to protect the kids. So they devised a plan to pull Freddy out of the dream and then kill him in the real world, which that seems to work all the time. He'll just go right back to the fucking dream world. But these guys don't know that yet. She goes in to get Freddy. Freddy pretty much traps her in there because she hasn't been sleeping at all. So by the time she actually fell asleep, she just went into a coma. So Quentin jabs her in the chest, Pulp Fiction style, with some adrenaline. And then she wakes up with Freddy in the real world. They fight a little bit. Freddy gets his hand cut off, and then Nancy says, "Welcome to my world, bitch," and slashes his neck. That's cool. So I guess he's a human being now that he's in the real world, so he's not going back into the dream world after this. He's just dead. Oh, no, that's not true. I don't know. Maybe. So then the next day, or whatever, Nancy's at home with her mom, and her mom and her having a little heartfelt moment, and then boom, Freddy's back. Duh, because that's how the original one ended. And that's about it. So, that was Nightmare on Elm Street remake. They were going to do a sequel, but I guess it didn't do well, so they were just like, fuck this movie. And now, just like Friday the 13th, it's all tied up in legal bullshit with the rights to it. So we won't be seeing Freddy anytime soon. Alright guys, that's about it. See you on the next one.
When I want you in my arms, when I want you, and all your charms whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream. Hollywood, 'cause you're in Hollywood.
Well guys, it's almost over. I can't believe it. Where has the time gone? Today, for October Horrorfest, I'll be doing The Woods, or as it was later called, Blair Witch. This is the sequel to the 1999 found footage film Blair Witch Project. The other sequel, well, we don't talk about that one. Anyway, so James is the brother of Heather, who disappeared in the original film, and it's been years, but he's convinced that she's still alive. After he finds what he thinks is a recent video of her in the Rustin Parr house, he sets out to the woods to find her, with the help of some of his friends. When they get there, though, shit hits the fan pretty quickly. Ashley steps on something while crossing a river and ends up getting an infection in her foot. Then they have a falling out with Lane and Talia, the two who uploaded the video and are basically their tour guides for the whole thing, and the group splits up. But then it never seems to turn back into daylight. It's been nighttime for quite a while. They meet back up with the two, and they claim it's been days since they saw each other, even though we only know it as hours. Ashley then discovers that a parasite's actually growing in her foot, which fucking sucks. That is why I don't go to the woods. Barefoot anyway. Ashley finds a stick man with Talia's hair on it and then accuses her of all the fuckery going on, and she snaps it. Talia then mimics the figure and snaps in half too, killing her. Peter and Ashley then both mysteriously die in the woods and get dragged off to who knows where. James and Lisa run into the Rustin Parr house and go inside, where they find Lane, who goes crazy, and then Lisa has to kill him. Then they head up to the attic and pass by a mirror with the camera, creating the whole paradox of the video that they saw originally that brought them there to begin with. And then, if that's not bad enough, they're both killed by what I would assume is the witch, who finally makes an appearance. I mean, there are many different theories, though. Is it Heather? Is it the witch? Or is it just some random hallucination they had? Who knows? Apparently no one does. So everyone is dead, and oops, they created another found footage tape. It looks like that's just a reoccurring theme with these movies. Well, guys, that was the Blair Witch movie. It's pretty short, but, you know, it is what it is. And I'm glad they finally showed the witch. At least that's what I think they did. Tomorrow on the finale, I do Halloween 2018, which I'm really excited to do this one because it's so amazing that they finally did another Halloween movie and that they're filming sequels now too. But if that's not cool enough, I'm dropping a director's cut of my film, Michael, which I created 2 years ago. So be sure to check that out. Alright guys, see ya. So, here it is, the finale of October Horrorfest. I've decided to end things with last year's Halloween 2018, a direct sequel to the 1978 classic. In the Halloween series, there are a few different timelines, but this one ignores every other film and just follows the original, retconning the series. So it's been 40 years and Michael Myers is locked up in Smith's Grove. Two journalists are doing a story on Michael and go to visit him, but with little result. We then see Laurie Strode, who has built her whole life around Michael's inevitable return. Her house has become a fortress. Laurie's daughter Karen is estranged due to her unorthodox upbringing, preparing her for Michael. But her granddaughter Allison still has hope that she can reunite the family. One night during a transport, Michael escapes with the help of his new doctor, Sartain. The shape returns to Haddonfield and begins to kill again. Sartain and Officer Hawkins go after Michael, with the doctor double-crossing Hawkins and bringing Michael to Laurie's house for a long-awaited rematch. Michael kills the doctor, some cops, and Karen's husband Ray, and then he sets his sights on Laurie herself. After a heated battle, Laurie traps Michael in the basement, which was meant as a prison cell, and she burns her own house down, with Michael inside. Laurie and her family escape, and the horror is finally over. Isn't it? This movie was a wild success, already spawning 2 sequels, making it a trilogy. Halloween Kills is next in line, and it's due to come out October of next year, 2020. Alright guys, well this has been October Horrorfest on the Set, and I hope you enjoyed it. Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween!